The Purification Council believes human DNA will contaminate our species, whispered Taurus, an Australian science officer who had sought out Nova in a secluded maintenance corridor. They've infiltrated the princess's inner circle. Nova absorbed this information grimly. 2 months had passed since the revelation of Vessa's pregnancy. The International Space Station had been docked with the massive Australian ship, extending their diplomatic mission indefinitely while negotiations continued. "Why are you telling me this?" Nova asked, studying the crystalline being whose light patterns indicated extreme anxiety. "Because I believe in Princess Alara's vision," Taurus replied. "Genetic diversity is our only hope for survival, but the Purification Council sees your child as an abomination." Later that day, Nova found Vessa in their shared quarters, her abdomen now glowing with a steady pulse. The pregnancy had accelerated beyond human norms, her body changing to accommodate their hybrid child. "We need to leave," Nova said without preamble, taking her hands in his. "Someone named Taurus warned me about a group called the Purification Council." Vessa's luminescence dimmed with fear. "They're extremists. They believe in racial purity, that our species should die with dignity rather than dilute our essence." "They want our baby," Nova said, "for biological weapons research." "The unique combination of human adaptability and Australian quantum properties would make powerful weapons," Vessa confirmed. "But escape is impossible. The princess has ordered security protocols that track my location at all times." Nova pulled her close, "Then we'll need help." That evening, Nova was summoned to Princess Alara's private chambers aboard the Australian vessel. The room was vast, with living crystal formations creating natural architecture unlike anything on Earth. "Dr. Blackwood," Alara greeted him. Tonight she wore simpler attire, making her appear more like Vessa than ever. "Please join me." "Your Highness," Nova acknowledged, remaining standing. "I understand you wanted to speak with me." "I wanted to warn you," she said, surprising him. She activated a device on her wrist and the room filled with soft humming. "We can speak freely now. My security disruptors will block any surveillance." Nova tensed. "About the Purification Council, they're moving faster than I anticipated." She gestured for him to sit. "They don't just want your child for research, they want to prevent any possibility of human-Australian integration." "Why should I trust you?" Nova asked. "You've threatened to erase Vessa's memories if I don't comply with your demands." "A necessary pretense," Alara said, her expression softening. "My advisors report everything to the council. I needed them to believe I share their concerns about your influence." She moved closer, her bioluminescence pulsing in patterns Nova had come to recognize from Vessa. Sincerity, concern. "The truth, Nova, is that I need your help. Our species is dying. The bond you've formed with Vessa proves integration is possible." Her eyes met his. "I need to forge a similar bond to show my people there's another path." Nova felt a pull toward her, similar to but different from what he felt with Vessa. "Is that even possible, to bond with both of you?" "Theoretically," Alara said. "Since Vessa and I share identical genetic structures, the bond could accommodate us both." She reached out, her fingertips nearly touching his. "May I?" Against his better judgment, Nova nodded. Their fingers connected, and a jolt of familiar energy surged through him, but with a different resonance than his bond with Vessa, sharper, more intense. "I feel her through you," Alara whispered, her eyes wide. "And something more, something uniquely yours." When Alara's lips met his, the sensation was both familiar and foreign, the same coolness as Vessa's skin but charged with a different energy. The bond between them flared to life, intertwining with the existing connection to Vessa, neither replacing nor diminishing it, but creating something new. They parted, both breathing heavily. "It worked," Alara said, wonder in her voice. "The triple bond is stable." Nova stepped back, conflicted. "Vessa." "We'll feel what just happened," Alara confirmed. "Our connection ensures it. Go to her, explain, we haven't much time." When Nova returned to their quarters, Vessa was waiting, her body glowing with an intensity he'd never seen before. "You bonded with her," she said, her voice a complex mixture of emotions. "She says it's necessary," Nova began, "to protect us, to protect our child." "I know," Vessa interrupted, moving toward him. "I felt it, all of it." She placed his hand on her abdomen where their child's glow pulsed in rhythm with her own. "And our connection is stronger now, more complex." Nova pulled her into his arms, feeling the familiar electric surge between them, now somehow enhanced by the new bond. "We need to trust her, at least for now. She says the Purification Council is planning something." As they embraced, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the station. "Emergency protocols activated," announced the ship's AI. Security breach in Docking Bay 3, all personnel to emergency stations. Vesa looked up at Nova, her eyes wide with fear. It's beginning. Chaos engulfed the station as Nova and Vesa raced through corridors bathed in emergency lighting. The sound of crystalline weapons discharging echoed through the metal hallways. The escape pods are this way, Nova said, guiding Vesa with his hand protectively at the small of her back. We can't leave, Vesa insisted, pulling him to a stop. If the Purification Council succeeds, they'll use this incident to end all human-Australian relations. Our child won't be safe anywhere. A squad of Australian security forces rounded the corner, their crystalline armor glinting under the flashing lights. Nova tensed, ready to fight, when Princess Alara's voice rang out from behind them. "They're with me," she said, approaching with her own security detail. "The Council has made their move. They've seized the command deck and are preparing to broadcast false evidence of human aggression." "What's the plan?" Nova asked, feeling the dual bond strengthening with both women so close. "I need to reach the quantum resonance chamber," Alara said. "From there, I can broadcast the truth to all Australians simultaneously, show them what's truly possible between our species." They fought their way through the ship, encountering pockets of resistance from Council loyalists. In one brutal skirmish, Nova used his human combat training to protect Vesa when energy weapons began to overload her crystalline structure. "I didn't know humans could move that fast," Alara remarked, watching as Nova disarmed an Australian twice his size. "There's a lot about humans you haven't learned yet," Nova replied, the adrenaline of battle coursing through him. When they finally reached the resonance chamber, a vast, dome-shaped room lined with pools and crystals, they found it already occupied. Krell, the leader of the Purification Council, stood at the central control column. "Your Highness," he said, feigning respect, "I see you've brought the contaminants directly to us. How convenient." "Stand down, Krell," Alara commanded. "The Council's authority is secondary to royal decree." "A decree from a compromised monarch is invalid," Krell replied coldly. "Your association with this human has corrupted your judgment. Genetic purity must be maintained." Nova stepped forward. "Your genetic purity is killing your species. You're so afraid of change that you'd rather die out than evolve." "Bold words from a primitive species," Krell sneered. "Your kind still wages war on itself. You think we'd trust our genetic future to barbarians." "Enough," Vesa's voice rang out with unexpected authority. She stepped into the center of the chamber, her pregnancy now clearly visible, her abdomen glowing with intense blue-white light. "This child represents hope, not contamination. I will prove it." Before anyone could stop her, Vesa placed her hands on the central crystal. Her body began to pulse with light that spread through the crystal networks of the ship. Nova felt the bond between them surge with incredible power. "What is she doing?" Nova asked Alara urgently. "A soul sharing," Alara whispered, awe in her voice. "She's broadcasting her experiences, your bond, your child's development, everything to every Australian on the ship." Krell lunged toward Vesa, weapon raised, but Nova intercepted him. They grappled briefly before Nova gained the upper hand, restraining the Australian leader. "Let them feel it," Nova said fiercely. "Let them feel what's possible." The light from Vesa's connection spread through the ship, and Nova felt something extraordinary, thousands of Australian minds briefly touching his through the triple bond he shared with Vesa and Alara. A moment of perfect understanding flowed between species. When it ended, Vesa collapsed into Nova's arms, exhausted but triumphant. Around them, even Krell's supporters had lowered their weapons, moved by the shared experience. "It is decided," Alara announced, her voice carrying royal authority. "The Purification Council is dissolved. A new era of cooperation begins today." 3 months later, Nova stood in a new chamber aboard the Australian vessel, now permanently docked at Earth's orbital station. Before him stood both Vesa, her pregnancy now in its final stages, and Princess Alara, both dressed in crystalline ceremonial attire that caught the light from Earth visible through the viewport. "Are you certain about this?" Nova asked them both. "Our people need to see that change is possible," Alara said. "This tri-bonding ceremony will formalize what we've already begun, a new kind of connection between our species." Vesa took his hand, her skin warming against his. "Our child needs both worlds, Nova. This is the only way to ensure that." As the ceremony began, representatives from Earth and Australia gathered to witness the unprecedented union. The triple bond between them strengthened, not diminishing Nova's love for Vesa, but expanding to include a deep connection with Alara as well, different but complementary. When they each placed their hands on the ceremonial crystal, their combined energy created patterns never before seen in Australian bonding rituals. The crystal shattered but reformed into something new, a tripartite structure that rotated with perfect balance. The bond is acknowledged, announced the Australian elder. What was separate is now joined. That night, as Nova lay between the two identical yet distinct women, their bodies glowing with contentment, he marveled at how far he'd come from being just a xenobiologist with theories about interspecies compatibility. Our child is moving, Vesa murmured, guiding his hand to her abdomen. Nova felt the kick of their hybrid child and smiled. Earth's first ambassador to Australia is getting impatient. The first of many bridges between our worlds, Alara added, her fingers intertwining with his. As they drifted to sleep, the triple bond humming harmoniously between them, Nova realized he had found something he never expected in the vastness of space. A family that transcended the boundaries of worlds, a love that defied biological impossibility, and a future brighter than all the stars visible through the viewport. Outside, Earth and the Australian ship orbited together, their lights merging against the backdrop of infinite space, separate entities in perfect harmony, much like the three beings who had found connection across the cosmic divide.